really, really want to learn investing, you need to learn how to read a balance sheet, how to read an income statement.
I still don't know how to do that.
Yeah,
so I gotta learn that
and
shit.
that's not that, you know, like nothing against anybody who does it, because unless you know did accounting like I happen to have done, like
so you learned this in school.
reading balance sheets and income statements of public companies is fun for me.
You know,
so like
you're like one of those guys that, you know, have fun like making like Excel sheets and algorithms.
I love it. It's hard, right, for anyone who doesn't have an accounting background, but it's nothing crazy. It's literally looking at certain lines on the balance sheet, like cash and different types of debt, like, you know, loans.
There's not
and
too
stuff,
many
cash
numbers
and cash
you gotta
equivalents.
really
There's a couple
look at.
things.
Yeah.
There's a couple 1-2 things that you know you just got to be aware of, and then look at revenues. Look at the revenue from like 2019, what they reported, and then 2020, and then 2021, and then 2022, and see if there's a growth trend there.
Yeah.
You know, and then look at their expenses and look at their, you know, if are they profitable? Do they make a net income? Right? There's nothing crazy. If you don't put the time into it, you're gonna be like, yeah, I can't do this, or and then you're gonna be like, oh, let me sign up to your Patreon and tell me what stocks to buy, and then and then you get screwed over. And there's there's this thing, you know, I hate this, but like a lot of on Instagram and everywhere, there's people that are like, hey, you'll buy this stock, trust me. And they put like a tongue emoji or like a rocket ship
to the moon, right?
Right? And it's just like a random person who maybe doesn't even know you that well, who's following you, might be like, oh, this person, every time they keep posting this with a rocket ship, they probably made so much money. They definitely know what they're talking about. And they'll be like, I'm gonna put in like $5,000 or whatever, like all the money sitting in my savings account, because everyone keeps telling me if you don't invest your money, you're gonna lose it to inflation. And then without knowing anything about how a stock market works, even though in the long term, year over year, then if they just left it for the whole year,
would have been like maybe like
they would have made like
8 Gs.
they would have made like maybe, you know, depending on the stock, they would have made maybe a 20% return, 50% return. But they don't know that. But they don't know that, right? Someone's just saying, "Hey, buy this, trust me." They don't even say anything.
They have no idea.
And then like the
about when they're gonna sell it or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
And then like when the 5G goes down to like probably like 3,500, you're like, oh my god, my
I lost. That's it. It's never going back up.
Exactly. So like, you know, like people are just like telling people, hey, buy this, buy that, you know, like, you know, we're not trying to, you know, we're definitely not trying to do that. You know, we're just saying, hey, do your research, because, you know, like, as you know, Heaven was talking about high income skills and stuff like that. Like, I think the highest income skill that will pay you the most dividends, literally and figuratively, is learning to invest.
Oh yeah.
And it will pay you no matter how much money you make.
Oh yeah.
And it'll pay you for the rest of your life. But what you need to do is you need to put in the same effort that you put into studying your undergrad. And you study it like that. And if you put in that kind of time, it'll pay you way more than a job will ever pay you.
Oh yeah. You got to take it seriously, right? And you know, I think there's a lot of people that are probably just getting into the stock market, and it can be very intimidating, but at the end of the day, everyone starts somewhere. I would just say, like, just do your research as much as you can. All that info is out there. You just got to put the time in, right?
Honestly, like, I think, like, with the stock market or any other, like, investment avenue, I think even if you're working in a regular job, if you can have the discipline to invest, like, that money, you're going to make money. Long term, you're going to be able to flip that money. And, like, I think being able to manage your own money is, like, the best way to, like, secure, like, a retirement.
100%.
You know? Or, like, build substantial wealth, especially
at the very least. You will have a substantial lump sum for when you retire, at the very least, whenever that is. Even if it's when you're 50, 60, you will have way more than like the basic minimum that you'll get.
Back in the day, like, you can save your money and stuff and like buy like a house and stuff, right? But like now with like how quickly everything, inflation and all that stuff, how quickly everything is changing too, you almost literally can't save a down payment unless you're like living with your parents or something and like saving aggressively. But even then, like, bro, like a down payment for a house hypothetically would be like $100,000, and then
minimum.
Like, okay, let's just say minimum, like $100,000
in the GTA.
Right? You save up like $100,000, and you're like, oh, yo, I'm at $95,000. I'm in like a 3 months, I'm gonna have $100,000. I'm gonna be able to 3 months from now your down payment for that same fucking house is gonna be $120,000. What are you gonna do?
Exactly.
But that's just how it's been going, right? So I think like now more than ever, we need to learn about different investment avenues, because you literally can't even buy a house unless you're investing at this point. You know, so I think it's like very crucial, and like, yeah, like Vince said, like, you should go at it like it's a university degree. You should.
Exactly. Study investing like you're studying for your finals or your midterm.
Exactly. If the finals and midterms isn't guaranteed to make you money, but this more than likely.
Think about it. How much hours you put into an assignment or an essay.
How much OSAP do you need to take out to learn to invest? 0.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
0. But
literally.
When you go to school, you're pulling out 7 Gs for a term, right?
Yeah. So, and then you're gonna graduate and you're gonna make the same amount of money and sit next to the guy who doesn't even have a bachelor's.
And there's this thing called YouTube, and all the answers are there.
Exactly.
On how to invest. And we'll be throughout this episode and future podcasts, we'll be giving you guys all those channels and different podcasts that where you can learn to invest. All you got to do is spend time. You got to just substitute what you would normally watch or consume with, this stuff. And you can slowly learn and then have an idea rather than being like, oh, my boy or my girl told me, to buy Tesla stock. And, and not saying Tesla stock is bad purchase, because, you would have made a lot of money if you bought it last year at certain points. And even now, it's not financial advice, but in the 600-ish range, is a great buy, so I've heard. But
allegedly.
Yeah. But you don't want to just take the word of somebody.
Yeah. And we're gonna be in future videos and actual YouTube videos, we're gonna be going over like checklists and key things you want to look out before investing into a stock.
100%. We're gonna go through, and 3 of us are gonna learn together. Even me now, like I look at a lot of these things, but I'm not as particular when I invest. I look for a lot of certain things that need to be there before I buy a stock, a particular company. There's this checklist by this gentleman by the name of Brian Feroldi. We'll talk about that a little bit later. It kind of has like different scores, everything that needs to be present to invest in a company according to him. And he's been doing it for a lot longer than I have or any of us have.
Oh yeah.
And
that's amazing.
there's a lot of people out there just like him, but I think he's the one person that I've found that is dedicated to essentially teaching people how to invest and dedicated towards financial wellness.